It's Monday morning in Miami, and I start my morning by abusing myself mentally, then walking to a coffee shop to get energized, but also to remind myself that there's an entire world out there that nearly nobody is completely present in anymore because of social media and these little fucking rectangle things that everyone carries around. But I can't be mad about it because this is the exact thing that allowed me to escape all of the traps that society has in place now. Luckily for me, I found a way to use the thing that simultaneously destroyed society to change my life. There was this kid in my class who had Asperger's, and he was always on his phone in class. One day this girl I used to fuck with walked in, and she tripped over the cord that was plugged into his phone that was charging it, and it ripped his phone out of his hands, and he just turned around and punched her as hard as he could in the arm. And that shit was like, I didn't know if I should run to his ass or just laugh because it was kind of funny. But looking back on it now, I think he actually had a superpower because he was really good at maths, he was a chess master, and he was like an A+ student, but he was always on his phone and he never paid attention to what the fat liberal bitch at the front of the class was saying. He saw the vision. He knew that shit didn't matter. I've made over a fucking $1 million online now, and not once did I use Pythagoras' theorem or anything that fucking gay Susan bitch was teaching me. Literally the only thing that school did for me was make me hate education, which is one of the worst things that you can do to a human. Because when you stop learning, you stop evolving, and when you stop evolving, you stop living. I always knew school was retarded though, and it wasn't until I became an adult and got out of school where I taught myself to enjoy education again, and I took another chance on it, but I actually did it the right way this time. And I learned from someone who I actually wanted to have a life like, instead of that fat gay retard teaching the class. And when you do that, man, does shit get better. The thing is, we aren't given any clear examples of how to work smarter and not harder, but you can actively seek them out, and that's when you actually start to obtain some sense of knowledge and freedom.
This is a fucking Miami driver, is the worst fucking driver.
Fucking stupid, huh?
Look at this bitch. She don't even know how to drive.
Logistics aside though, whether or not you actually get to live a good life is purely derived from whether or not you find that thing that gives you a rush of when a new idea pops into your head and you run to your laptop to write it down. That thing that keeps you up at night because you've got all these different ideas and scenarios playing out in your head about what could happen as you do that thing. That thing that you can't stop thinking about, and everyone thinks you're weird because you're obsessing over it. That thing that makes you outgrow all of your friends, but it's okay because you still got that thing. That thing that burns your soul with purpose and desire. I'm talking about when you discover that thing that makes you tick, the thing that makes you smile and also makes you sick and keeps you up at night. That thing that you can't help but be obsessed with to the point where it completely consumes you. Your mission. There's a reason why obsessed motherfuckers always win, and it's because when you're obsessed, you're not even on the same playing field. You aren't on the same playing field as the motherfuckers that want it. You're on the playing field of people who need it, and I can tell you that there's a lot less people on that playing field. When you've got obsession, there's something outside of you that is forcing you forward. It's beyond you. It supersedes discipline, motivation, focus. None of that shit is relevant when you're obsessed. I can actually remember the point in time when I became self-aware. I was standing in a nightclub in Collingwood in Melbourne, and it was the first time I went out sober. The voice in my head started talking to me and questioning my actions, and I listened to it, and I went home, and I began to have these large internal monologues, and I had them for the rest of my life up until now. Over the next couple months, I would keep having these conversations with myself, and I became obsessed with the journey that I was on. Since I was a kid, I felt like I was meant to do something more with my life. I felt like I was special. I was probably a narcissist, and I probably still am, but it's besides the point. I still remember this post that my brother put up for my 13th birthday, and in the caption he said, "Proud to have such a character for a sibling. I'm almost sure he's taken over the world. We just don't know it yet." And although I haven't actually taken over the world like those who I won't name because this is a video on YouTube and I don't want to get wiped off the internet just yet, but you know who they are. I'm committed to making an impact. I have a voice in my head that doesn't allow me to settle and that keeps pushing me forward. And I think this is what everyone needs. But the first thing you need is something to obsess over. But where most people go wrong is they think that they can't find their purpose or their passion, but your purpose isn't something that's going to come hit you in the face one day. It's something that you create. Your purpose and your passions are built. They are created over time by trying and experimenting and doing and living. You just do shit until one of the things that you do grabs a hold of you and starts to consume every fiber of your being. And then as you progress and get better at that thing and find more enjoyment in that thing, the more you want to do it and the more obsessed you become. That's all I do, and that's all I continue to do to this day. You get more obsessed by doing something constantly and consistently and getting better at that thing until you become completely obsessed. And when you become completely obsessed, that's when you start to feel like everything makes sense, and when you start to really get the most juice out of life and the experiences that you get to have because you're dedicating yourself to something that you want to dedicate yourself to, and you feel in your nature again. We don't get up and hunt bison and kill animals anymore. So if you don't have something to get up every day and hunt and achieve and progress in, then you're wasting the experience that you have here in life. So remember that obsession is your key to greatness, and that's how you get it.